Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Conversation with Stevie. For those of you who know Stevie's voice, you know that I am not Stevie. I am Dr. Marilyn E. Porter. I am the spiritual leader of the Pink Pulpit Crusade International and the CEO of Scatterbrain Genius Enterprises and SBG Media Group. And I am sitting in for Stevie on today. You know, leaders have to take breaks. And so it is my absolute pleasure to be sitting in for this episode of the Conversation with Stevie. But can I tell you all that I am super excited because I believe that I have been divinely aligned with someone who I seem to have a lot in common with on today. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this show rolling because I am excited. I want you to get excited. I think you're going to get some great nuggets, but I also really want you to tune in with your heart, not just with your head, because today's topic is a heart topic. It's a heart topic. So I want you to listen with your heart, and I want you to consider what can you do to get involved. And so I want to welcome to the show today Miss Sabrina Kirkland. Sabrina is an author and a motivational speaker. She is the CEO of My Name Is Me, LLC. Listen, that alone just got me excited. So let me tell you just a little bit about Sabrina before I welcome her into the studio. She is a native of Miami, Florida, who transitioned to Orlando in the year of 2000, and she's worked for 10 years with the Orlando Police Department. Shout out to the men and women in blue. In 2005, Sabrina found her passion working with victims of human trafficking and is certified to teach and train domestic minor sex trafficking and how to recognize the victims. Wow, that's so awesome. With Atlanta being the hub for human trafficking, Sabrina started creating programs and establishing alliances with local officials and activists in the Atlanta area. In 2012, she started My Name Is Me, LLC, and wrote her first book titled My Private Space. When asked why she wrote the book, Sabrina replied, "The book is about me and how my abuse started at the age of 8. When you know your value, no one can diminish your worth." And so, ladies and gentlemen, all over the globe, I want to welcome into the studio with me today Miss Sabrina Kirkland, and we are going to have a heart conversation today about human trafficking, childhood molestation and abuse, and however else Holy Spirit leads this conversation. So welcome to the show today, Sabrina. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Porter, for the opportunity, and thank you, Miss Stevie, for putting this together. I am so grateful and so humble right now for this opportunity.
Well, we had a little pre-show conversation, and so I want to let the listeners in on just how things can line up divinely. Things really can line up divinely. So when I was asked, every now and then, Stevie needs a break. We all do. Every now and then, Stevie needs a break, and she'll just tag me in and say, "Hey, Dr. Porter, I am her coach and her mentor." And she'll tag me in and say, "Hey, Dr. Porter, can you host a particular show for me?" And I always say, "Why, of course." Why? Because I like to talk. I got no problem with talking to folks. But when I opened up the email and I saw the name of Sabrina's organization, My Name Is Me, LLC, I responded to Stevie and I said, "This is divine because my brand, my name is Marilyn Elizabeth." And so for years, my brand has been the ME brand. My company was ME Unlimited LLC. And so as Sabrina and I began to talk, she told me something that kind of gave me a few goosebumps. And so I'm going to let Sabrina tell you, I'm going to tag her in to kind of jump into this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. My name is Me. came from the book, My Private Space, and the character's name is Mary Elizabeth.
I was named after my grandmother, whose name is Mary Elizabeth.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yes.
Wow. So, Mary Elizabeth's name came from actual Mary, who birthed Yeshua, of course, and Elizabeth, who birthed the heralder of John the Baptist. And so the issue that we've been working with since the beginning of time is, sexual molestation, human trafficking of children. So the book of Joel talks about, where they were selling the boys. And
yes.
So it's been since the beginning of time. And so for me, my book is forwarded by the I Am that I Am. So when the I Am that I Am sent Moses to Pharaoh, he said, "Let my people go." So
yes.
The purpose of the book is to free those that have a voice and think that they cannot be heard, to be able to speak out about someone hurting them. So the book is all biblical in the concept, but the delivery is very poignant. It's to the point. It actually talks about what an abuser would say to a child to get it started, and then it will grow. So we're wanting to give the child a voice at the time of the inception, the time it actually happens, the abuse happens. We want that child to have the voice to say, someone is hurting me, and not be afraid or not keep it a secret. So the I Am that I Am is setting them free. You have the Savior who came through Mary, and you have the heralder who let everyone know that the Savior was coming, and that's through Elizabeth of John the Baptist. So, like I said, in its inception, in the book itself, it's a biblical concept, but we're hitting it, just head on. And when you told me your name, I was like, wow. I know myself, I was a victim for 8 years of abuse. And me having a voice and no one first believing me, and then when it finally did happen at age 16, someone finally believed that this happened to me, I found out, I have a voice and I'm no longer silent. But as I was going through the healing process of this, I was encouraged to go to counseling. Well, in our heritage, we're
absolutely,
counseling is very frowned upon. You would be considered as crazy or less.
Absolutely.
So I want to dispel that myth, because that is exactly what it is. It is a myth. Yes, you absolutely pray for your family members and your friends, but they also need assistance. They need help. They need someone that is totally unbiased, that will allow them to sit there and talk about what they've gone through and go back to the root of it, so you can start healing. Because we build up so many walls around us to protect us from being hurt that we don't even let the Father in.
Absolutely.
So many walls around yourself, he can't come in to heal you. So our pastor taught on yesterday about us about physicians. The Levites were the actual physicians in the church. So
yes.
Him saying for us to have faith, yes, but the Father also created physicians so that we would go get the diagnosis and we know what to pray for. And that's what, going to get mental help, HELP, is all about. So we want to make sure that we are in an environment where we are able to talk about what we have gone through in a healthy way, and to deal with that issue, to deal with that problem that we have. And so I just want, if I don't get anything else across to our listeners, I really want to convey to you, if you are a victim of or have been a victim of and you have not gone to get mental help, I really do just urge you to do so. And My Name Is Me was created because I wanted to be anything other than Sabrina after that. So I built all these characters, and I made up all these characters so I wouldn't have to be Sabrina.
Wow. Well, listen, Sabrina, if you don't mind, I'm going to hop in right here. And so you heard me say at the opening that when I read your bio, when I read your the short snippet of your history, and I said, wow, not just the ME resonated with me, but what you advocate for resonated with me as well, because I myself was raped, and I am very clear on the language.
Wow.
I am a member of the English language, right? And so I'm very clear on language, and so I don't insert the word molestation where rape actually occurred, right? Because if there is any penetration at all, it is not molestation, it is rape. Right? And so I'm very clear on the language. And so I was raped by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 5 years old. And at 5 years old, you don't even understand what just happened. All you know is that it hurts. That's all you know is that happened that hurt your body. Because those parts of you, those pieces of you are not even awakened yet. I mean, if I can just be a little bit raw for a moment, at the age of 5 years old, your vagina does not even, you don't even get aroused. So that is literally, that's just a tearing, a ripping of your body as a child. And I wasn't able to articulate it in words or fathom in my mind what had happened until I was 11 years old, when I heard my mother and my aunt having a conversation, and they were talking about the first time that they had sex. And I was listening, and I thought, oh, that's what that was. And I was finally able to put it into words. This is what happened to me. And so I understand on a cellular level what you are talking about. I fully understand, and I am actually in the process of writing, of compiling an anthology titled When I Was 5, The Aftermath of Childhood Rape and Molestation. And so it is definitely time, my sister, to get louder. Hashtag to the listeners, hashtag get louder. It is definitely time to get louder about this thing, because, again, not only is mental health and mental health taboo in the African American community, this rape and molestation is also something that for generations has been swept under the rug. Grandmama then would say, child, don't tell nobody. Child, we don't want nobody. You know what I'm saying? So it is time to get louder. So I applaud you 100%. And because I don't want to out-talk you, because it is your interview, I want to make sure your voice is loud in this conversation. But I wanted to just also insert this. It said that you are connecting and collaborating and working with people in the city of Atlanta. Well, I am located in Atlanta. That is actually, yes, I am located in Atlanta. And just this past weekend, I spoke at a women's empowerment event called The Queendom. It was myself, singer Angie Stone, and a few other local speakers. But we were advocating for a group here in Atlanta called Straight Street Life Center, and they are advocates for teenage human sex trafficking. So this is divine. Even now we rescheduled this. Now, had we done this interview when we were supposed to do it, I would not have already spoken at that event. So this is all so absolutely divine. So it's beyond just the E and the Mary and the Elizabeth, and there's so much going on here. So I'm just like, God, just have your way. Just have your way. So let's talk a little bit about the actual sex trafficking, because many people do not get Many people do not understand that just because a teenage girl or a teenage boy is old enough to say yes, that their mouth can say yes, right? But their intellect has not developed in such a way that you can't say yes to exposing yourself to hundreds of people having sex with you at 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm going to say even 16 years old, because you don't really understand the full ramifications of what that's doing to your mind and your body.
Absolutely, and it is absolutely true. That it starts as early as 8 years of age.
Yes.
The trafficking, and yes, boys. We have more boys that are being trafficked than girls, believe it or not.
Wow.
But it's just not being communicated. We have more young men that are being raped, but it's just not being communicated. And that's evident now in what you're seeing in Hollywood. This is not something that just happened. It has been happening over time. It just, like you said, got loud. It got a voice. And it got a vehicle that is moving forward and fast. And so now everybody is coming out about all these people that have been taken advantage and of people and usurping their authorities and asserting their authority, on folk and using their position to get what they want and hurting people in the process. And sex trafficking is domestic minor sex trafficking. And we say domestic because it's right here in the good old U.S. of A.
Yes.
It's not an international European issue anymore. It is right here. And we have so many people that don't realize right next door could be a trap house.
That's right.
And our children are being caressed, I would say. And I do say caressed because when it first starts, they start out being very nice, talking to you, giving you, if you are in a home that is broken and dysfunctional, it is so easy for a predator to prey on you. If you are in a home that the father is not there and mom is doing the best she can, or vice versa, you are susceptible because you have no one there to validate who you are. So your validation now comes from someone in the street. And they have gotten so, elaborate with it. They have what they call recruiters, and the recruiters are young women that come to the schools, that go to the shelters, that goes to the homes, the homes for girls or home for boys, and they're dressed up to look like they have it all going on. And, of course, if you are in an environment where you don't have a name brand anything, or you have hand-me-downs as a name brand as opposed to new, and you see this fly person coming in and they're always dressed to the nines, they recruit you into that lifestyle. Let me show you how it is. And then when you get there, you find out it is not what you thought it was going to be. And by this time, it's too late.
Right.
And so, and I explain to people, when I was younger and I was molested, at 8 years old, of course, you don't know what's going on with your body. But
that's right.
Time, your body is now craving that feeling. And your mind cannot comprehend what your body is going through.
That's right.
You are doing things that are against what you were naturally supposed to do when you are wed. And so now you're opening, that door has been opened, and all these spirits are coming in, and now you are susceptible. How you say you're a magnet.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because that spirit that is now in you is linking up with that spirit that's now in them. Because it all boils down. It all boils down to lust, and those spirits link up with each other. So you're absolutely right. But I also to throw this in there, when you're going down the list, when if it's single parent homes, father not there, broken homes, things of that nature. What I recently learned, Sabrina, and this I don't want to say that it surprised me, because it was nothing in this day and age is a absolute shock. But I was a little bit taken aback that the organization here that I was just speaking about, that I supported over the weekend, I sat down and talked with the executive director, and do you know that their organization is actually finding out that this human sex trafficking, it spans socioeconomics, because they have actually had to go in and get some young girls whose parents are Atlanta Falcons, local celebrities. So it even spans. So this is not just happening in the hood.
No, ma'am. And it is. It is happening in I'm going to tell you, we had a case. This is a while back, probably about in my third or fourth year in working with the victims. We had a case where we had sisters. They were from a very affluent family that we had rescued. And sadly enough, they could not say who their parents were, because their father was very affluential, and he was the one that molested them. So both of them had run away from home. And so it was so much so they couldn't really, and mom couldn't do anything. And so they were told that if they said anything, that they would be locked away in a mental institution for the rest of their lives, just to save that person's reputation, but also hiding this dark secret. And so for them, it wasn't about getting them back home, because they were so heavy into trafficking. They had been literally traveled all over the world with hundreds of men.
My God.
We could not send them back to their families. So, you have those cases where this is happening, where your monster, I always tell people, the monster as a children, when we were growing up, the monsters were under the bed and in the closet.
Under the bed. Under the bed, yes.
They're in your bed now. So,
under the bed.
And that's what My Name Is Me came from, forgiving yourself, being forgiven, because you do have to forgive yourself, and it is a process. Forgiving the person that hurt you, and being comfortable in the skin that you are in, being comfortable in your space, and being who you are. Knowing who you are, stripping away all of that hurt, and being vulnerable enough to say, this is me, this is who I am. And that's what My Name Is Me is all about.
So now where can I almost forgot that we were having this conversation live. I was about to say, girl, where can I get this book? But audience, let me not be selfish and say, for our listening audience, how would they be able to get a hold to My Private Space? Where do we go to get this book?
Believe it or not, it is available online on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart. And it is now on sale, actually, at Walmart. So you can get it online at those three outlets. I also have a second book that's coming out for the little boys as well. And we're asking that, my editor says to me, and publisher, he says, we know your book's doing really well. We know it's selling. I was doing my own selling of them. He says, but you're not having your audience leave reviews, so we don't know how well the book is doing. So we're just asking that when you purchase the book, please leave a review so that we'll be able to track, and so they can really see just how well and that it is getting out, that the message is like you said, loud.
Yes.
And we can start having these healthy conversations about this. You can visit our website at www.mynameisme.com.
Now, let me ask you this. If I go to the website, and is it possible for me to order the book directly from you as opposed to Amazon getting a piece and Barnes & Noble getting a piece and Walmart getting a piece? Because as a publisher, I know everybody gets their piece of the pie, and I am one who would want my dollars to completely to support mission and your vision for this organization. So I would love to be able to just purchase the book and just make sure you get all those dollars.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You can. Yes. You can also get it online at mynameisme.com.
Yes. That will definitely be my choice of purchasing. And I truly do. I actually would admonish anyone who is listening to this. That is the book. Is it available in ebook form?
Yes,
on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what I want to ask of our listening audience. If you're listening, if you're catching a replay, if you're listening live, what have you, this is what Dr. Marilyn Porter, M.E. Porter, is asking you to do. I'm asking you, go to Amazon and purchase the ebook and leave a review. But go to the website and actually purchase the print copy of the book so that the organization gets all of those monies. So that because organizations like this, these types of missions and visions need to be funded. They need to be supported. So I would love for you, go to Amazon, go ahead and get that ebook, become a verified purchaser, give it a 5-star review, say a couple words. If you have a little piece of a testimony where the book resonates with you, put all that in there. But then go on over to www.mynameisme.com and order the book directly from Sabrina so that her organization gets the full benefit of you purchasing that book. Now, I don't want to hijack your sales team, Sabrina, but I'm like, listen, I need you to get as many coins as you can because I know how important what you do is to our nation, to our families, to our culture, to our children.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And also, part of the proceeds from the book sales go to my foundation, which is seedlifefoundation.org. And Seed Life is the end result for Seed Life is to raise money to build a community for our foster children. It is so sad. I have a business partner that is a broker, and the saddest story that I've heard was a group home for young men, and the owner of the group home was trying to find a home for the boys, and unfortunately, they were about to sign the contract. Sign the closing for a home in a particular community. That community had gone to their community leaders and were very irate. They did not want that group home in their community because it was a home for boys. And so the worst part of that was, it's bad enough these children don't have a family and they're in foster care, but now a community that's supposed to embrace and help to raise them does not want them. What does that say about that?
My God, all of that.
Exactly. We've had cases where, children have been in foster care, and the foster care used that as a trafficking home where
My God.
we had foster care workers were pimping the children out. So, these are you hear all these horrific cases. And so Seed Life's goal is to build a community of some of the most beautiful, most sought-after homes you would ever want to lay your eyes on. Marble tile, the works. Big, beautiful homes that our children can grow up in, the community that they can grow up in and feel safe. And, yes, know what it's like to be exposed to beautiful things and be loved without fear of them being hurt. We're giving them an opportunity to grow up as children. So anybody that knows Miss Sabrina know that if you hurt a child, and it's under my watch, I do press charges, and I do fight. I want the fullest extent. I'm going after the maximum sentence when you hurt a child. So, that's the end goal for Seed Life. So the proceeds and everything that we do, portions of that go into Seed Life Foundation. We are going to build this community for our children. And for Dr. Porter, if you don't mind, for anyone that goes to visit shelters, to do a favor for me. I remember I used to go to shelters when I worked for the police department, and I remember this young man, he says to me, Miss Sabrina, it's bad enough my mom don't want me and my family don't want me, and I'm here at this shelter. He says, but every time they send me to another home, they put all of my belongings in a black plastic bag, and it makes me feel like I'm lower than the trash. And he goes, I can't tell you how many times I've had to start over because I would rather just go out with the clothes on my back than to walk around with a black trash bag that make me feel like I'm nothing, that I'm not worth it.
My God.
So I went out to Ross and I bought this big, this overnight bag, travel bag? And I think it was like a Spalding, or I can't remember the name of it. And I just, put him some toiletries in there and some few T-shirts and underclothes, and I went back to the shelter and I gave it to him. I pulled him to the side. We went in the back and I gave it to him. This little boy hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. And he was like, no one has ever did this for me. And I just wanted him to know how worthy he is and what his worth is. And so that's why, the Holy Spirit gave me that quote, when you know your value, no one can diminish your worth.
Absolutely.
And he says, you are so worthy that I sent my son to die for you. He was beaten. He was accused and he was abused. He was nailed to a cross because he thought you were worth it. So now, daughter, that you know your worth, now that you know how valuable you are, don't let anyone diminish that. And that's what I always leave to our listeners. We also have a radio show, I'll Speak Out Your Issues, and we always say, when you know your value, no one can diminish your worth. So I applaud you, Dr. Porter. And would I be out of line if I asked you what you do and the things that you're doing for our community? I would love to know.
You would not be out of line at all. And so at the very forefront of who M.E. Porter is, I will say that I am the mother of 3 daughters. And so I understood from the very, very conception of my first child that my role instantly became protector, right? And so at the very forefront, at the very core of who I am a mother. And I don't just mother the 3 daughters that I have given birth to. I am a mother. And so the way you say, if you hurt a child, I'm coming for you, that's how I am in general. If you do any wrong to any child on my watch, I'm coming at you just like I gave birth to them. Absolutely. And so one of the components I feel like that is now missing in our culture in general is the mother. The mother, like mothering and what mothers do, and how mothers, like mama bears, protect their children. And I'm not saying that we pick up on everything, but I'm a psychology major. And I'm a prophetic woman of God, and so this is what I tell people: if I can't discern you, I can diagnose you. I'm gonna figure out where you're coming from, one way or the other. You're not gonna nobody's baby around me, or even when I say around me, this is what I mean. If my spirit can connect to your nonsense, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. And so I am a preacher. I am a teacher. As I stated earlier, I am the spiritual head of the Pink Pulpit Crusade International Ministry, which is an outreach ministry. It is a global outreach ministry, and sex trafficking is one of the things that I have on my Get Louder, because my Get Louder campaign is launching in 2018, and sex trafficking is on that list, which is why I was connecting with this local organization. But I also have a dear brother friend in Inglewood, California, who used to be a sex trafficker, who used to be and spent years in prison, and is now advocating. And is now become an advocate. And so that's what I'm telling you. When I read your thing, I was like, oh, this is divine. But my primary goal right now in life is that to heal our people. That's my primary goal, is to heal our people. So in the month of October on Facebook, I did a challenge, 21 Days to Healing Challenge. And the Spirit of God moved in such a way that they said, Dr. Porter, you can't stop. At the end of these 21 days, we have to keep going. And so now in the month of November, I'm doing the Clarion Call to Healing. And every Monday night at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live, we've been doing the steps and the processes and the forgiveness and all of the things that go into healing, because I believe that healing has to take place from a soul level. So from my 5-year-old soul had to be healed before my 47-year-old woman could function properly.
Absolutely.
And so look, girl, I'm a preacher, so I could go on and on. But just in a nutshell, my role as in the community, even before I will say is a preacher, even before I will say as a pastor, my role in my community is to mother those whom God puts in my path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my God, that is so profound. That is profound. And I feel it, which is why I asked you, because I feel it. I really do. I feel your spirit, knowing that, I'm with you, that this is a divine appointment. Because I also go out and educate, teachers, lawmakers, police. We also train them on how to spot and how to deal. And I say our teachers are our first line of defense when it comes to our children. So we need to let them know how to respond, how not to respond, how to react. When a child comes to you and say, this is going on or this is happening to me. So I commend you and I thank you, because you are absolutely correct. Your soul has to heal, because each time you are abused, each time you are raped, a piece of you is literally cut away. It's stolen.
Absolutely.
And I used to call it, you're walking around like a zombie.
Yep, the walking dead.
Emotions, but on the inside, you're dead. You have no feeling.
That's right, the walking dead.
You really have to go back again to where the abuse first started, because that's when you lost your life. And go back and deal with that hurt on that level.
Yes.
In that way, and that's the only way that you're going to heal. I don't know about you, but when that happened to me for a long time, I could not look at myself in the mirror. I would only allot myself 5 minutes in the mirror, because I didn't like the ugly that I saw. Doesn't matter if people call me beautiful. On the inside, I did not feel it because of the abuse. So, I've been asked, when are you going to write your story? When are you going to write your book? I said, when the Holy Spirit tells me, it's time for you to write your story, then so. But as of now, we're doing it in this vein. And we put the characters as they look like little animal people, because we as a society, I've had someone ask me, why aren't your characters black? And I said, because this is not a black issue.
It is not. This is not a black issue.
It's a national issue.
This is a human.
It does not.
This is a human. This is the human condition. This is the human condition that we're living.
Yes, and it does not discriminate.
Yes.
If you're rich, you're poor, black.
That's right.
So
that's right. That's right.
So I put the characters the way I did because, and it was the Holy Spirit that gave me the idea, because I didn't want them to say, okay, so this is a black thing, so we're just going to relegate it to that race of people. But it's not. And it's like you said, it's a human issue. Mm-hmm. So it made the characters look like little puppy people as opposed to a race of people, so to speak.
I love it. Well, I will definitely be on my way to Amazon, and then I will be on my way to your website. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put in a shameless plug. Can I get my autograph, please?
Yes. I sure will.
I'm just going to put that out there. But listen, we could probably go on for another 2-3 hours. And, but I don't want Stevie to be like, well, my shows are usually only, 30 minutes. Y'all just done went off into the abyss.
I'm so sorry.
This has been amazing, and I knew that it would be. I knew that it would be, and so I have been looking forward to it. Like I said, I knew that there were so many more. There were so many similarities. You may not have known, but as soon as I got the email, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. So I thank you so much for coming on the Conversation with Stevie, and I thank you. I really, really appreciate you for being transparent, because one thing that I know for sure, God cannot fix a lie. We got to be transparent. He's not blessing those lies. He's not blessing the cover-up. He's blessing the truth. And so I thank you so much for being transparent. And for the listening audience, I want you all to be really clear on some things that were said today. One of the things that really resonated with me was the statistic that it's happening more to boys. It's happening more to boys. So mothers and daddies, pay attention to your sons. Pay attention to your sons. Ask the hard questions. Have the hard conversations. Because again, as my guest stated, this thing snatches your soul. It snatches your soul from you. So we want to protect our babies. We want to protect our babies. And yes, we can pray. And yes, we can cover them in prayer. But God has also given us some practical wisdom. Use it. Use the practical wisdom of God. How can you do that? Listen to the people who are putting the information out there. You have your Sabrina Kirkland. You have your Jessica Frazier's here in Atlanta. You have people who are putting the information out there. Listen to them. Listen. Listen to the advocates. Listen to them. They've done the work. They've done the research. They've been in the field. They've been hands-on. Listen to them. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Listen to your advocates. So, Sabrina, we're going to go ahead and close this thing down. I'm going to ask you to take about 15 to 20 seconds and give any final words to our listening audience, and then go ahead and let them know every single way that they can get in touch with you. I'm talking about websites, email addresses, social media. Let them know, because I want them to get connected, because I want them to hear your voice. #Get louder.
Absolutely, and my name is Sabrina Kirkland. You can reach me on Facebook at Sabrina Rietti, Riettie Kirkland, or My Name Is Me, or Seed Life Foundation. Also, my website is www.mynameisme.com. We're also, again, on Facebook, on Twitter, my_private space. You can also reach out to we also do interviews. our teachings. If you need me to come out and speak to your organization, please reach out to me through the website. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, and I promise you we will get back to you. And to you, Dr. Porter, if there's anything that I could do on my end to assist you, I definitely would like to further this relationship because I know that this was a divine intervention. I am available to you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I will definitely be, you'll be seeing an email from me shortly. But thank you so much for joining us today on the Conversation with Stevie. I have been your guest host for today, Dr. M.E. Porter. You guys have a great day. As Stevie would say, make it a great day. Don't just have a great day, make it a great day. And as I would say, I want you to know this one thing for sure. Everything that you need to survive in this life is already inside of you. Peace, love, and blessings.